Are you tired of all the baloney? Well, you know what you need. Straight talk with Jack Graham. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Now, here is Jack Graham.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Jack Graham with Straight Talk with Jack. Another video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking some time to enjoy another video about some great jazz recordings that you can still find, that I hope you find. And we'll get going here in a minute. I want to say, please, if you do like what you see, please hit the like, thumbs up button and the subscribe button, notification button, all the buttons you need to hit, and we appreciate that. I have to show you something. This came today, my new t-shirt. I wonder how this is going to go over when I go into the coffee shop in East Tennessee tomorrow. Miles, Ron, Herbie, Tony, Wayne. I think most of you know what that is. I'll report back to you. Should be pretty interesting. Anyhow. So today, I want to talk about 5 what I call under the radar Oscar Peterson Pablo recordings. They're really good. We know about the Oscar Peterson records, many that have been issued on Pablo, as well as other labels. But Pablo is one of my favorite labels. It contains so much good stuff, and it's still available. I think the prices are starting to go up on them, but they're still available, reasonable. Acoustic Sounds just reissued their Pablo series last year, going back maybe to the year before. When they started with great stuff, and most of it I think is still available, still in print. I encourage you to check it out on the Acoustic Sounds website. Every one of them are just spectacular. Pablo was one of the labels run by Norman Granz, and he was demanding for the sound, the quality of the music, of course, but just the recording sound. Many of these old Pablos are actually pressed in Indianapolis, where some of the great RCA Living Stereos are pressed. So he was real picky on the sound. Used very good studios, RCA studios in LA, Group 4, a couple other really and good engineers, and some good mastering people. But today I want to talk about 4 records that I really enjoy on the Pablo label that I think you need to take a look at. The first one is a recording called Jousts. And what it is, it's a compilation of 5 previously issued records with tunes that were not on the previous recordings, new tunes, with 5 trumpet players of royalty. We're talking about Roy Eldridge, Harry Edison, Dizzy Gillespie, John Faddis, and of course Clark Terry. This is Pablo 2310-817, and again it's a compilation of 5 other LPs that were recorded in 1974 and 1975. It's really enjoyable, and I think an underrated Pablo from the Pablo years of Oscar Peterson. It's built around a simple, brilliant concept, trumpet and piano. Oscar, engages in a series of the title jousts or duets with 5, of these great trumpet players from different generations and styles. You've got Dizzy, you've got Roy Eldridge. Roy Eldridge is a huge influence on Dizzy Gillespie. Harry Edison of the Count Basie fame, Frank Sinatra records, the muted trumpet, and many of Frank's records was Harry Edison. I think he did 19 in a row. the great Clark Terry, and the young John Faddis. So those five. Of course, produced by Norma Grants, and it has performances recorded during, I think, Oscar Peterson's celebrated duet series that he did on Pablo Records. He did many duets. We're going to talk about another record down the list here with Count Basie, but he did a lot of duets. He did one with Zoot Sims. He did one with Duke Ellington. He did just some amazing stuff on Pablo. What makes this record special is the setting. It's an intimate setting, no rhythm section, nothing to hide. You can't hide on this recording if you're the trumpet player. I've done some things with a pianist, and it's tough. There's nowhere to hide. There's no bass, no drums. You're exposed. And Oscar is really the perfect partner for this because he's supportive, challenges the player, and very inventive, as we know. He's underwhelming on this with his guests, but you can hear his technique. He adapts to the player and to the player's sound and personality on each cut, and the result is a great compilation of jazz trumpet history in a single record. Tunes like Stella by Starlight with Dizzy, Satin Doll with Harry Edison, a tune called Danish Pastry with Clark Terry, Oakland Blues, I think that's the one with John Faddis. Each one is really a masterclass in communication between Oscar and the player, with instant response to every phrase, every idea that the soloist is playing. It's just amazing. I think this record really is the essence of Pablo. You know, great musicians playing mostly standards, no commercial pressure, enjoying the art of improvisation. It's a relaxed atmosphere, but the level of musicianship is extraordinary. You know, if you enjoy small group jazz trumpet piano duets, you know, and hearing how different generations of trumpet players approach kind of the same musical language, this is a real hidden gem in the Oscar Peterson canon, and one of the final examples of Oscar's ability to collaborate with a very myriad of different players at their best. I would really encourage you to pick this up. Yeah, I mean it's really a great record, recorded exceptionally well. One of my favorite records in the Pablo discography. The second record that I'd like to talk about is a record with another trumpet player called Face to Face with Freddie Hubbard. A great record. I think it's Pablo 2310 876, recorded in 1982. It's a later Pablo. You could tell that by the colored picture on the front rather than the black and white picture. And again, it's in the 2310 series, which features a lot of colored covers in photography, and it's really, really great. This is recorded in Hollywood at the Group 4 studio, a very highly regarded studio with a great engineer, Dennis Sands. Amazing. Again, another hidden gem in the Pablo catalog. This record brought together Oscar, the great Freddie Hubbard, in a quintet setting that features Joe Pass, Niels Orsted, Henning Pedersen, and Martin Drew. A quintet that was on many, many, many recordings. I think what makes this record special is the fact that Oscar and Freddie, to me, were at the peak of their maturity. For me, it was the early 1980s. Freddie maybe 70s into the early 80s. We talked about in prior videos Freddie's CTI recordings, phenomenal. And of course his Blue Note stuff was amazing. But I think the peak of his playing was, in the post Blue Note era and the CTI era was in the 80s. After that, for various reasons, I think, though good, his playing maybe diminished a bit for my taste. But, he returned on this record to more of a straight-ahead acoustic jazz approach after the CTI years, which are fine, which are great. But with Oscar's quartet, the quartet provided the perfect setting for Freddie. Allowed Freddie to record his, virtuosity, his remarkable swing and lyricism, impeccable on this record. There's a 13-minute performance on this of Miles's All Blues, just amazing. The trio is just relaxed, just a real great groove, and Hubbard delivers some, I think, the most inspired playing of this period of Freddie. It's one of Freddie's greatest tracks. It's a short program featuring tunes, one by Freddie called Thermo, another one called Weaver Dreams, it's kind of a standard, Portrait of Jenny ballad, Oscar Peterson original called Tippin'. And I got to tell you, Face to Face is just a great showcase of the Pablo era quartet at its peak. Powerful, understated, and Oscar plays great too, on Weaver of Dreams especially. His technique and just his effortless playing that we all know made him one of the greatest pianists. Freddie has his trademark power on here with the unusual warmth and the ballad tunes and melodic sensitivity. Great record. Face to Face. Please look for that. It's just amazing. It's just amazing record. I just listened to this the other day, and it just is. It's one of my favorite records of all time. Moving along, the third is another Oscar Peterson duet, but this time with Mr. Basie. And it's called Yes Sir, That's My Baby. Pablo 2310-933, recorded February 21st in 1978, but not released until 1986. They held this in the can until 1986. It's one of the most enjoyable and relaxed encounters between two pianist giants. These guys really got along. There's a great video on YouTube with Oscar and Basie. I think was done in England. I think they're playing 1 O'Clock Jump, and you could see how well they loved each other and how they just admired each other. Again, recorded in Hollywood in just impeccable manner. It features, of course, Basie and Peterson, it's just a great piano duet, but augmented by John Hurd, the drummer, and Louis Bellson. It's just one of those great collaborations where this rhythm section does not get in the way at all, and it's just adds an impeccable amount of depth to the sound. It's just a great record. It's informal, it's spontaneous, and again, it's just a typical Pablo record. It's just the atmosphere that happened in Pablo recordings. The contrast between Peterson's technique, full of this cascading runs, while Basie is really a master of the understatement, using, just a few perfectly placed notes to create swing and momentum. There's no competition here. They just get along really well. Peterson supplies the fireworks on here, no doubt, like he does. But Basie, adds his trademark musical economy, humor, and just an impeccable sense of timing, which made Basie just the great pianist that he was in this group, small groups, as well as, the big band setting that we know him for. Tunes like Tea for Two After You've Gone is on here. Some blues is on here, 2 blues tunes. It's just a great record that allows these players to stretch out and just swing. It's a joyful record. There's no attempt to rewrite history on here. It's just a gathering of 2 great musicians with a great backup band. And add to it the Pablo catalog, and available, and you should have it. Let's just leave it at that. To sum it up, I would say that this record it's almost a lesson in swing, taste, musical conversation, and really shows how 2 different piano styles can come together to create a great recording. I think you can find these around for probably $20 or $30. They're still there. I think I recently saw a used copy on Acoustic Sounds for $30. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was, I think, a near mint copy. But yes, sir, that's my baby. The next, number 4, is a record called The Giants with Oscar Peterson and Joe Pass and Ray Brown. Show me a record Ray Brown was on that is mediocre. Aren't too many. Again, this copy that I have is pressed in Indianapolis, just like RCA. We're probably in the RCA plant, which is world renowned for quality. Recorded in 1974 MGM studio in LA. Ken Duncan was the engineer. Another great engineer that Norma Grant's employed. It's a nice small group. It's really an example of how these 3 masters, this trio of great improvisers, can create music without a drummer. Of course, Oscar on piano. He does play organ on one of these tunes. Joe Pass on guitar, Ray Brown. It was really released right in the middle of Pablo's golden era of straight-ahead jazz recordings. Again, it's the interaction between Ray Brown. He serves as the rhythmic foundation, as most bass players should do, and sometimes a melodic voice. Joe Pass, unbelievable player. We hear of Wes Montgomery and Kenny Burrell and Barney Kessel and some of these other great guitarists. Joe Pass is right on top with these guys. Great player, tasty player, great harmonic, invention he plays. And Oscar, of course, displays his dazzling technique and unbelievable swing. But Joe Pass is an equal partner in this, and he creates, just a real conversational texture within the sound, and makes it sound like a larger group, frankly. Some of the highlights on here is Who Cares? Great tune, Gershwin tune. Kind of a real nice, easy swing. There's a tune here called Joe Beam, dedicated to, of course, Antonio Carlos Jobim, influence of Brazilian music. I will tell you there's one tune on here that I do not enjoy, and it's I think at the time you saw a lot of record labels trying to be a little bit more commercial and put in a few commercial tunes. On here they put in a pop tune called Sunny. I think you all know it. It was a big hit. Pretty horrible tune. But it's here, and I get it. I think it's the weakest tune on the record. They try to add some soulful sounds and material. I get that, but it bombs out. But luckily, the next tune is Caravan. I think it's the most exciting track on the album. All three, Pass, Peterson, Brown, a lot of energy, a lot of momentum. I think it's the most amazing tune on the record. I'm Getting Sentimental Over You is a beautiful example of the lyrical side of this record and the trio. And you'll hear Oscar actually plays organ on this, which is, I don't know that there's another record that he plays organ on. Maybe there is. I don't know if there is. If there is, let me know in the comments. But it adds a different amount of color that allows the listeners just a little diversion from what Oscar's really known for. But the overall repertoire of this album balances out original composition and some standards. The musicians demonstrate amazing versatility. Coincidentally, little known fact that this record actually won a Grammy Award for Best Jazz Performance by a Soloist for Oscar on his work on the record, which underscores the quality of his playing throughout the session. And again, it's a typical Pablo record, great sound, relaxed, no pressure type environment, which created, an environment for these guys to just play so well together. Great record. And finally, an interesting record called The Freedom Song with Oscar Peterson. This is a later Pablo on what they called Pablo Live. And this was recorded in Japan. And it's with, again, the Big Four, what Pablo called the Big Four, recorded in Japan in 1982 in Tokyo. It's a gatefold. It contains 2 records. Big Four did a number of records together on Pablo. This one, I think, is maybe the most under the radar of all of them. It has not been reissued, to my knowledge. And it might be one of Oscar's best live recordings of all time. They've released a lot of live stuff by Oscar on Record Store Day over the past few years. And it's some of it's good, some of it's exceptional. This is exceptional. Again, Joe Pass is on this. Niels Orsted and Pedersen, great bass player of all time. Martin Druda's trio stayed together with Oscar for many years. Made many records that are widely regarded as one of the top trio records of all time. What makes this special is like the other ones, the balance of the interaction, the virtuosity of these players. Of course, again, Oscar dazzles. Joe Pass is amazing. And Pedersen's bass work rivals Ray Brown's bass work. Martin Drew, again, subtle, knows what to play, what not to play, And, it's just amazing. A few performances on here that stand out. Round about midnight opens the set. Very sophisticated version. Great version of Easy Living. The only one I like better is the one Clifford did. Great tune. Peterson just plays so lyrical on that cut. When we focus on Oscar's technique and his ability to move around a keyboard, here he just plays just so lyrical and beautiful. Move, Turn Move, it's a very hard burning tune. It really shows the group's bebop credentials, if you will. The centerpiece and the name of this is called Hymn to Freedom. That's the name of the record, and it's written by Oscar. Um, and it's dedicated, it's a famous civil rights anthem that's featured here in a really expansive statement, moving from a gospel type, warm gospel sound to dramatic intensity. It's really the heart of this record. It's a fantastic cut. Some other tunes are that are on here. Oscar's originals demonstrate Oscar's ability to compose, not just play. But Freedom Song is really the centerpiece of this, and the whole record it captures the maturity of this group. By this time they performed together a lot. They knew each other. They knew what each other was going to do, and the result is an album that is spontaneous but very assured in its playing. It's just amazing, and I think that it's something that you ought to consider looking for. There are around. I bought the Japanese pressing. You can tell by the obi, and it's just really a really great understated and under the radar Oscar Peterson record that I would really encourage you all to look up. Anyhow, those are 5 great records by Oscar on Pablo that few of them I think should be reissued in the coming years, but I'd encourage you to look for them and enjoy them. Thank you again. Any comments, leave them on the, below here, and like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys all at the Vinyl Summit in Salina in October. I'll leave the link below. It's going to be a great time. Celebration of Acoustic Sounds' 40th birthday. Music, food, record shows, tours of the pressing plant. It's going to be great. Anyhow, hope to see you there. And until next time, thank you. Bye-bye.